My wife and I have been together for 16 years, dating for 7, married the rest, and we now have 3 children. Our history has been a wealth of happiness and blessings, but a recent incident uncovered something jolting from the past. About 1 month ago, I noticed that my wife was suddenly focusing a lot of evening attention on her phone. I confronted her about it and discovered that a younger coworker had begun chatting with her online. She claimed that it was completely innocent, but admitted to deleting that chat logs because it felt wrong. She later admitted that he was engaging her in a flirty manner and that she enjoyed the thrill of the attention. She ultimately addressed the issue at work, and we considered it closed. While I wasn't crazy about the entire situation, I can honestly understand it. My wife is warm, caring, and absolutely gorgeous. Receiving attention from a young, attractive male must have a tremendous effect on confidence and ego for a mother in her late 30s. The stress of the situation led me to think back to something that occurred 10 years ago, 6 years into our dating relationship. To set the stage, my wife, girlfriend at the time, had begun pressuring me towards marriage, and in my foolish youth, I was resistant. I relented to moving in together, and we spent most of our time socializing with friends and family. We were comfortable in our lives, and I didn't have a lot of drive for more. Very similar to the recent event, I remembered noticing that she was devoting a lot of attention to online chatting, and after some investigation, I found inappropriate conversation with a male coworker. The messages weren't obscene, but they were overly familiar. I confronted her and learned that no physical affair had occurred, but she admitted that she was not happy in our relationship and was considering leaving me. Here's the problem though. That's where my memory of the event ends. I remember nothing else of our confrontation, other than I was devastated. She was remorseful and we decided to change things and make it work. In the months immediately afterwards, several things happened. My wife found a new job, I got my act together, school and work, and we got engaged. The 10 years beyond that have been a fairy tale. We're both highly successful with a growing and beautiful family. We've spoken a number of times about the problem back then, and I accepted it as a learned lesson that forced us to grow up. I completely understood why she was about to leave me, and it's driven me ever since. I'm reasonably confident that no similar events have occurred since. In the days following a recent event, I revisited the past and questioned whether or not I really knew the full story. After some tense discussion, she confessed to withholding the extent of that relationship from years ago. The details she shared were somewhat disjointed and disconnected, but here are some examples. They flirted often through text messages, rife with sexual innuendos, held hands away from work, and he awkwardly attempted to kiss her on 2 occasions. They hugged on 1 occasion and professed their desire for each other. She admitted to fantasizing about him during sex with me, then further confessed that one day she had left for work planning to sleep with him later that day. Her claim is that the thought of hurting me beyond what she'd already done prevented her from going through with it. She canceled their plans and told him that they couldn't continue down the path that they were on. She resolved herself to devote everything to our relationship, and here we are. Needless to say, I was devastated all over again. Our fairy tale history was suddenly a partial lie. She had kept this from me for 10 years. Through our engagement, our wedding, the births of our children, and every up and down along the way. I turned to the internet and learned about emotional affairs, and I now find myself in a hugely challenging situation. I want to believe her. I want to believe that I know the whole story now, but I find myself wanting to know every single detail possible. I want to know what messages they sent each other. And I want to know every emotional and physical interaction that occurred. She claims that most of the memories have been lost over time, but she swears that I now know every major detail that she's kept from me. She's been gracious through my constant questions and mood swings as I work through this. I can tell, though, that the strain of not moving beyond it is quickly beginning to take its toll on both of us. Somehow I want her to understand that I have to know everything in order to move on. It happened a decade ago, but she's lied to me that entire time. Truth be told, I don't feel that the details would impact anything beyond my desire to resolve the unknown past. I'm not going to leave her and erase our years of marital joy, even if she were to confess to sleeping with him. For me, it's more about knowing that she's had the courage to fully share a part of our history that I knew absolutely nothing about. How do I ever believe someone who's held a lie from the person that they're closest to in the universe for 10 years? How do I move beyond this?